I am here today to talk with you about how to resign from your job the right way, and I'm going to share 4 tips on how you can do that. My name is Joseph Liu, and I'm a career change and personal branding strategist, and my focus is on helping people relaunch their careers and pursue more meaningful work. So we have arrived at the 5th stage of the 7 stages of career change, which I call departure. This is the moment you've decided that for whatever reason, you've had enough with your current job, it's no longer meaningful to you, and you've decided it's time to depart, time to resign from your job, time to quit. So one of the questions I get asked a lot is, how do I resign from my job the right way? And I think this is so important because how you resign from your job really defines the legacy you leave behind, and it's the last thing people remember about you, so you want to do it the right way. I've got 4 principles that I recommend to my clients. First principle is to prepare a professional transition. You want to make the transition as smooth as possible for your manager, for your company, and also for the person who's going to be your successor. So I recommend creating a transition document, making sure that you have all of this in place before you actually resign. So keeping track of your key projects, creating a document that captures all your key contacts, key relationships on your projects at work, any sort of critical timelines, or any sort of things that you think would just be useful for your successor to have. The second principle is to control who you share your resignation with, and to specifically only share your news with your manager only. Make sure you share it in person, make sure you share it live. This is not something you want to do over email or even a phone call if possible, unless you absolutely have to. But the important thing here is to not tell anybody else. This is really something you need to communicate with your manager, and then your manager can decide how he or she wants to relay this message to other people in the company, and also when they want to do that. The third principle is to say no to a counteroffer. Now, I know this one's a little bit controversial because sometimes when you resign, you may find that your employer is going to try to keep you there. And I know that's flattering, but I would generally, in nearly all cases, recommend you resist the temptation of taking a counteroffer. What is a counteroffer? A counteroffer is some sort of additional compensation or flex that your manager gives you or your company gives you to try to make your job more appealing to you so you don't leave. Hiring somebody new is generally quite disruptive and time-consuming and labor-intensive for your employer, so they're going to probably want to try to keep you, so don't be surprised if they extend some sort of a counteroffer. The reason why I generally recommend to my clients not to take a counteroffer is because it generally doesn't signal good things about you. It could mean that you are motivated by money. It could signal that you did this as some sort of ultimatum to get what you wanted at work. And the last thing you want to have is your manager to perceive that you threatened to leave as a way of negotiating something. Basically, what can happen is if you take this approach, your goodwill and your reputation can take a hit. I can tell you from personal experience, I have always gotten counteroffers from my employer when I'm on my way out after I've resigned, whether it's more money or to even work part-time. I've always said no to counteroffers because, again, for the reasons I mentioned, I just don't think it's good for your long-term goodwill and relationships. The 4th and final principle I encourage you to keep in mind is to just remain fully engaged at work, to work hard all the way through to the last day, whether you've got a 2-week notice period or a 3-month notice period. Give 100%. No more, no less, so you don't need to be working overtime, but it's also important that you're giving your job 100% all the way through until the last day. And I can guarantee you that your colleagues will notice how you're working once you no longer have skin in the game. Just to recap, number 1, make sure you prepare a professional transition. 2, share your news selectively. 3, say no to counteroffers. And 4, make sure you remain fully engaged. Now, why go through all this effort in the first place? The reason why is because your reputation is at stake. If you're needing more help with this, I've got 2 resources for you. The first is in a link I'm including in the notes below, which is an article on how to resign the right way, which gives more details on these points. I've also included at the end of that article a free resource for you, which is a step-by-step guide on how to execute a job resignation the right way, from before your resignation to when you actually resign to handling the work environment after you've put in your resignation.